You may well have heard about Corporal Michael Lockett, who became Sergeant Michael Lockett and was one of a group of soldiers from the 2nd Battalion, the Mercian Regiment, who on a previous tour of Afghanistan tried in 2007 to recover a body. It was the body of Private Johan Botha, who was dead. He'd been on his first overseas tour. They'd come under terrific Taliban fire. Mr. Botha was killed, and Sergeant Lockett, was corporal then actually, tried again and again and again to get his body back and was determined not to leave him behind, and succeeded, and he won the military cross for that. And there are pictures in the papers of him being decorated by the Queen, became acting sergeant, and then was very, very sadly killed just a few months ago after a roadside bomb was detonated, and he confirmed the roadside bomb was there and it exploded. And his mother, April, is on the phone. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, good afternoon, Jeremy. I'm absolutely appalled at this woman's behaviour. She's absolutely embarrassed her son, and Gordon Brown sent me a 3-page letter, and yes, there was mistakes, but that doesn't matter. The fact is it came from his heart. He sat down personally to address a letter to myself and my husband. That should be recognised. And is this woman a spell checker? Is that what her job is? I think she should shut her face. She said far too much. She shouldn't have media time, air time, nothing. She should vent her anger on doing something worthwhile rather than slagging off Gordon Brown.
Did you get a letter from the Prime Minister?
I got a 3-page letter from the Prime Minister in the same handwriting, and there was spelling mistakes, but that didn't mean a thing to me. It was the fact that the poor man sat down. Now, when you're full of grief, can you spell properly? This man has to write to lots and lots of families. You make mistakes. That can happen. The man's only human. And now, the way she's treating him, she's shocking. She's appalling. She should never have been on the radio or the television. Her son would be mortified, as would mine if I had done anything like that. And I could have, but I didn't, because I've got more respect for my son and for the Prime Minister.
April, the death of your son was something we all saw because he was decorated, because he behaved so bravely, and then his life was taken. What have his colleagues said about him since he was killed?
Well, his colleagues said if they ever went out on patrol, they knew they were always safe with Lockie. That's what they called him. He'd done 3 tours of Afghanistan, he'd done Bosnia and Northern Ireland, and they miss him so much. He was a larger-than-life person. He led from the front to make sure that his men were safe. He went out first. Unfortunately, he stayed on later, by the way. He was supposed to be home on a flight, and he stayed on later to make it safe for the next troops that were coming out, making sure there was no landmines left behind. And as far as I've gathered, a freak sandstorm set off the IED.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. My son had pinned it all out and sent for bomb disposal, and he was 12 inches away from it, and the weight of the sand sent it off.
Now, I have in front of me the picture of the Queen,
yes,
giving him the military cross.
That's correct.
And I'm sure you have that photo at home.
I do indeed.
How does it make you feel looking at that?
Some days it makes me sad, and some days I'm so proud. And I've got to go down again and collect another, the Queen Elizabeth cross in Sandringham. I'm going to collect another one, but no medals can bring my son back. But he did save a lot of lives, and I met the families when we had the funeral, and they all said if it wasn't for your son April, our boys wouldn't be here. There was a blind man, there was a man with head injuries, there was people with all sorts of injuries, and they all came to pay respect to my husband and Michael.
Thank you so much, April, for coming on.
Yeah.
I've been hoping to speak to you since it all happened, and well, it's...
But it's poor Gordon Brown, the poor man's only trying his best. He doesn't have to write a letter, does he?
Thank you, April. All the best to you and your family.
Thank you, Jeremy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.